Hello students, welcome to KGS. So we are going to discuss about environment and ecology questions that UPSC has asked in Prelims 2026. So before going into the details of questions, just a kind of review of the questions that UPSC has asked from environment and ecology. So the questions were not the traditional questions, right? So you can see one question which is very close to the aptitude kind of questions, right? So it's very difficult to say that the question paper was on the traditional lines. It was completely unconventional paper, and the questions were slightly on the difficult, right? So it's not that they were moderate; they were inclined towards difficult questions, right? So let us start with our discussion. Total 11 questions are there. We will be discussing those questions. So first question. So this is set C, right? So I have taken set C for our discussion. So let us discuss. First question. First question. Tununguraha volcano, which was declared a global geopark by UNESCO in 2025, is situated in which one among the following countries? Right. So this particular volcano, Tunguruha volcano, which was declared as a geopark, global geopark by UNESCO in 2025. Right. So this is relatively a factual question. No, let's say, concept involved in this. It is just pure information based question. So answer of this question is C. Right. Question number 1, answer is C. It was declared as global geopark by UNESCO in 2025, and based on that they have asked this particular question, right? So question number 1, answer is C. Factual question, total information based question it is. Next question. Now this question is related to let's say national parks, or you can say that related to protected areas. With reference to Madhav National Park, which of the following statements are correct? Right. So the question is related to Madhav National Park, which is there in the state of MP, Madhya Pradesh. First statement: it was declared a tiger reserve in India in 2025, right? So you must be aware that this statement is correct, right? Because in 2025, this was declared as India's 58th tiger reserve, right? So first statement is correct. First statement is correct. So if first statement is correct, obviously you can use, or you must use, elimination. You are left with only two options, one and A and B, right? So you don't even have to bother about third statement, which is saying that Madhav National Park, which is a tiger reserve as well, is shared between Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan. So this is not the case. It is there in the state of Madhya Pradesh. There is a district, Shivpuri, where this particular national park is located. So this statement is incorrect. Third statement is incorrect. Now, second statement. Sakya Sagar, which is designated as a Ramsar site, is situated within this national park, right? So this particular statement, again, it is more of information based statement. This statement is correct. Sakya Sagar, which is a Ramsar site now, it is located inside the Madhav National Park, right? So second statement is correct statement. First and second are correct, and that's why answer is B, right? So question number 2, answer is B, 1 and 2, right? Next question. Now, this question is related to a plant species. Consider the following statements about foxtail orchid, right? So foxtail orchid, which is its biological name is Rhynchostylis retusa, right? So this is Rhynchostylis retusa. Now, let us consider the statements related to foxtail orchid. First, it is an epiphyte orchid, right? It is an epiphyte orchid. So this statement is a correct statement, right? So what are epiphytes? Now this involves concept as well, right? So epiphytes are those, let's say, plants that grow on the stems or barks or stems or branches of other plants, right? and these epiphytes are not dependent for their food on these plants. They produce their own food. They take atmospheric, let's say, moisture. They take gases, or even, let's say, some minerals from the atmosphere itself. They are not dependent on the plant on which they are growing. So those are epiphytes. So first statement is correct statement, that this foxtail orchid is an epiphyte. First is correct. So if first is correct, again, two options you will be able to eliminate. Now you don't even have to check the second statement. Second statement says the species is endemic to northeast India. No, this statement is incorrect statement. Why? Because it is not only endemic to it is not found only in northeast India. It is also found in different, let's say, Southeast Asian countries. It is also there in countries like Sri Lanka, and that's why second statement is incorrect. But you don't have to bother about second statement because you have already eliminated C and D option, right? Now, third statement. It is the state. Now, this is information. It is the state flower of Arunachal Pradesh and Assam. So this statement is correct statement, that yes, it is a state flower of Arunachal Pradesh and Assam. And that's why answer should be B, 1 and 3. So question number 6, answer is B, 1 and 3. Next now. Next question. Which one of the following is the first Plan Vivo certified reducing emissions from deforestation and forest degradation, that is REDD plus project in India, right? So Plan Vivo is a kind of certification system which is given to the projects led by community related to environment and climate, and nature, right? So Plan Vivo is a certifying agency. So it is a certification system. So first Plan Vivo certified REDD plus project in India is Khansi Hills Community REDD plus project, right? So Khansi Hills REDD plus project is the first Plan Vivo REDD plus project in India. So question number 10, answer is C. Okay? So 10th question, answer is C. Next now this is the question that I was talking about. So you can see the length of question, right? So consider the following statements with reference to India's response to climate change, right? So what are the steps that India has taken with respect to climate change? First, now you don't have to, let's say, check whether these statements are correct or not, right? Why? Because options are not like that, right? You are not supposed to check whether these statements are correct or not. What you have to check the relation between these, let's say, statements. And that's why I'm saying that this is related to, slightly inclined towards aptitude questions. So first, India's long-term low-emission development strategy, LTLEDS, which we have already discussed in the class, LTLEDS is a crucial tool for achieving net zero emissions by 2070, right? So we don't have to check whether it is correct. Just understand that LTLEDS is a strategy to achieve net zero by 2070. First statement. India's fourth biennial update report submitted in December 2024 recorded around 8% decrease in greenhouse gas emissions in 2020 over 2019, right? So again, correct, fine, no problem. Third, climate resilient development necessarily depends on quick and short-term achievements. Now this should not be, let's say, this should create a kind of question mark in your mind, that climate resilient development necessarily depends upon quick and short-term achievements of emission reduction targets, right? So this should not be the case, because climate resilient development is not a short-term goal. It has to be achieved over a long period of time. And that's why the target, for example, 2070 is there. It's not that we will be achieving it by, let's say, 2027. We'll be achieving it by 2070, right? So long-term targets are there. Fine. So these three statements are there. Now, again, what it is saying, which of the following relationships among the above statements are correct? So what you have to check, the relationship between these three statements. You are not supposed to check whether these three statements are correct or incorrect. You are just supposed to check the relationship. First statement. Statement 1 is empirically supported by statement 2, right? So let's keep it pending. Right? Though it is correct, let's keep it pending. Second, statement 3 contradicts the approach implicit in statement 1, right? So what statement C3 is saying, it is saying that the climate resilient development is a quick fix. It is, let's say, it depends on quick and short term achievements. And on the other hand, statement 1 is saying that the LTLEDS will be one of the important tools to achieve net zero by 2070, right? So 2070, and this is a kind of this statement, third statement, is depending upon short term solutions, and that's why we can say that yes, statement 3 contradicts the approach implicit in statement 1, right? So if it is the case, you have to have 2 in your answer, and that's why these you can eliminate. You are left with these 2. Now you just have to check the next statement. Let's go to statement number 3 now. Statement 1 and statement 3 together establish the premise of long term sustainability. Now if you see this statement 1 and statement 3, they are contradictory. Statement 1, yes, it talks about long term sustainability, but statement 3 does not talk about long term sustainability, and that's why it should be incorrect. So if it is incorrect, so you can say that answer is B, 1 and 2, right? So now we'll check statement 1. We'll check first. Statement 1 is empirically supported by statement 2. Obviously, yes, because there is some kind of data that is there in this particular statement 2, and that's why we can say that yes, it does empirically support statement 1, right? So answer of this question is B, 1 and 2. You can imagine what kind of, let's say, time this question must have taken, right? So it's extremely lengthy paper. It's means this year it's not about the preparation. This year, those obviously it is applicable to those who are well prepared, right? It is applicable to those who know that they are preparing in a good way. So this year it was not about your preparation, because questions were extremely random questions, right? And that's why this year it is more about a chance. If you have taken chance and if it clicks, you will be able to write mains. And if you have taken chance and if it does not click, then you should consider yourself unlucky. You are still a good student. Right? So let's go to next question. Question number 11, answer is B. 12th, with respect to Western Hullock gibbons, which of the following statement are correct, right? So the only ape species in India, Hullock gibbon. First, a sanctuary in northeast India is home to this ape species listed as endangered in the IUCN Red List, right? So this is correct. There is a sanctuary in Assam. There is a sanctuary in Assam called as Holungapur Gibbon Sanctuary, and that sanctuary is a home of Western Hullock gibbons, and they are endangered under IUCN's Red List. First statement is correct. If first is correct, you can eliminate this, right? Second now. So you just have to check second statement. They have specialized brachiation and can easily swing between trees, right? So brachiation is a kind of arboreal adaptability, right? They are arboreals. That means they are tree dwellers. And one of the arboreal, let's say, adaptability is brachiation. That means they will be able to swing from one branch to the another branch and amongst the trees as well. So this statement is also correct. First and second are correct. Answer should be B, 1 and 2. What is 3? 3 says that they possess a strong and heavy build like gorillas. That is not the case, right? If you see Hullock gibbons, they are relatively smaller than gorillas, right? So third statement is incorrect. First two are correct. Answer is B, 1 and 2. 12th, answer is B. Next, 13th. Which of the following best explains the rationale for protecting mangrove ecosystems in the context of climate resilience? First statement. Mangroves reduce tidal energy and store fresh water, making them ideal sites for paddy cultivation in saline estuarine belts, right? So this is incorrect. Why? Though they are important for reducing tidal energy and they store fresh water as well, they are not the sites for paddy cultivation. Forget about ideal. They are not the sites for paddy cultivation, right? So first statement is incorrect statement, right? Had it been the case that they are the sites for paddy cultivation, we would have cleared them long ago, right? So they are not the ideal sites for paddy cultivation. First is incorrect. So if first is incorrect, you can eliminate first A and B. You are left with C and D, where 3 is common. That means 3 is correct only. You just have to check statement number 2. Their salt sensitive roots. Now, they are not salt sensitive roots. They do not have salt sensitive roots. They are halophytes. They live in the brackish water conditions, and that's why they have such root system which is adapted to the salt water, right? And that's why they are not, their roots are not salt sensitive. Their salt sensitive roots filter seawater, making mangroves key to converting coastal land into freshwater aquaculture zones, right? So this is incorrect. Some random statements, first and second are random statements. Only third is correct. Answer should be D, 3 only. 13th answer is D. Next, 17th. Which of the following statements with regard to the arrival of Amur falcons at Doyang Lake in Nagaland each year from Mongolia are correct? First statement. It showcases how sustained local conservation efforts can contribute to the arrival and protection of international migratory birds, right? So this is correct statement, because earlier in the, let's say earlier in the last century, they were killed. These Amur falcons were killed for food by the tribal communities living in this particular area. But now with the community-led initiative, we were able to ensure that the Amur falcons get the protection in this particular lake. And that's why we can say that, yes, with the community-led efforts, local sustained efforts, we will be able to make sure that the habitat is restored. So first is correct. Second, it reflects the global success of advanced tracking technologies, right? So is it the case that Amur falcons use that tracking technology to go to different places or their destinations? No. And that's why this statement is incorrect, right? So they have their own, let's say, navigation system which help them to go to their places, their stopovers. It is not based upon the advanced tracking technologies that guide migratory birds back to their stopover sites. No, it is not the case. Third, it confirms that Amur falcons have adapted to permanent residency in India due to favorable permanent residency. Right? They are migratory species. Question itself is saying that they are migratory species, right? So migratory birds. So third statement is incorrect. They are not permanent residents in India due to the favorable habitat changes. No, right? They come India during unfavorable conditions and they go back. So only first statement is correct, and that's why answer is A. 17th answer is A. 18th, which among the following are the objectives of rain-fed area development RAD initiative under the National Mission for Sustainable Agriculture, right? So rain-fed area development initiative under National Mission on Sustainable Agriculture. Which of the following are the objectives? First, encouraging monoculture. So if it is an initiative for sustainable agriculture in the rain-fed areas, will it promote monoculture? Obviously no. So first is incorrect. If you eliminate it, again you can eliminate A and B. Then second, increasing rice cultivation in irrigated regions. So paddy cultivation, rice cultivation in rain-fed areas, is it possible? No. And that's why second is also incorrect, and that's why answer of this question is D, 3 only. 3 says enhancing productivity and minimizing climatic risk, right? Enhancing productivity and minimizing climate risks through integrated farming systems, correct, right? So third statement is a correct statement. 18th answer is D, right? Next now see, this question is again current affairs based question, right? So this kind of initiative, Nirantar initiative, was taken this year, January 2026, and that's why we can say that this is current affairs based question. 92. Which of the following statements in relation to Nirantar, that is National Institute for Research and Application of Natural Resources to Transform, Adapt and Build Resilience? So basically, it is trying to make sure that there is interagency cooperation. There is interagency coordination for the environmental benefits. For that particular purpose, MOEF and CC, Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, has started this particular initiative in January 2026. Right, CPCB, then Forest Survey of India, Zoological Survey of India. These organizations should have proper coordination. That's why Nirandar initiative was started. First, let's go through the statements. Ecosystem survey and analysis is a vertical under this platform, the lead institute of which is Botanical Survey of India, Kolkata, right? So again, factual information. There are different verticals under Nirandar, and one of the verticals is Ecosystem Survey and Analysis, which is headed by Botanical Survey of India, Kolkata. First is correct. Second, research and management of ecosystem service is a vertical under this platform. The lead institute of which is Central Zoo Authority, right? So if you apply logic, if you read statements carefully, you can eliminate this, right? Central Zoo Authority is related to the management standard setting for zoos. It is not related to, let's say, the management of ecosystem services, right? So second is incorrect. Third, capacity development support is a vertical under this platform, the lead institute of which is Indian Institute of Forest Management, right? So this is correct statement. First and third are correct statement. Second is incorrect statement, and that's why answer of this question is B, 1 and 3 only, right? So the second vertical, research and management of ecosystem service, is under an institute called as Indian Council for Forestry Research and Education, which is there in Dehradun, right? So second is correct, is incorrect. 1 and 3 are correct. Answer is B, 1 and 3 only. 92, 93, 99. Which of the following statements with regard to India's indigenous new high resolution weather model Bharat forecast system are correct, right? So this was also launched recently, and that's why it was in news. These kind of questions are deciding factors, right? So if you have marked them, because earlier questions are relatively tough, because in that pressure situation, they were really tough, right? So these kind of questions, if you have marked these kind of questions correct, then they will help you get through prelims examination. First, its objective is to generate forecasts at the panchayat cluster level, right? So this is correct because it replaces 12 by 12 square kilometer grid with 6 by 6 square kilometer grid, and that's why we will be able to get panchayat cluster level, let's say, forecast. So first is correct. Second, it was developed by IIT Delhi. This is incorrect because it is developed by Indian Institute for Tropical Meteorology, Pune, right? IITM Pune. So second is incorrect, only first is correct. Answer is A, right? So 99th answer is A, right? So these are the questions from environment and ecology, right? So relatively tough questions, right? So maybe it is the case that forest services is also there, and that's why the questions are relatively tough. But if you see other subjects are also tough, right? So fine. So that is about our discussion. Thank you.